You are watching The Huddle. Ninja here with OddsShark's betting expert, Tony Farmer. And it's that time of year, Tony, where with the NFL playoffs, where many new bettors looking for sports books, maybe some veterans looking for a second or a third, I thought I would just run through some of the important aspects of looking for a book and shed a little light on that subject. Now, full disclosure, we are partnered up with these books at OddsShark, and we do make money from click-throughs, from deposits, etc. But we work with the majority of legalized shops in the United States. So if you're an American viewer, chances are that our books are what is available in your state. And you can actually find some links in the YouTube description with more information. Oddshark.com/NFL/sites, oddshark.com/USA to sign up. You can click the link in the description and receive from FanDuel $200 in bonus bets, from BetMGM $200 in bonus bets, up to $1,000 in bonus bets at Teasers by using the promo code SharkBonus1000, and at Bet365 a first bet safety net bonus bet of up to $1,000 at Bet365, which means basically if your first cash bet of up to $1,000 loses, you just get refunded. Now, Tony has actually combed through all of these books for a lot of review content on site. And Tony, I just want to talk to you a little bit and try to help people understand, help them pick their first book, or to those bettors that are looking for more, add to the rotation. First off, talk to me about some of the differences from book to book. I know some books have unique features that others might not, and that can help really separate from the pack and make them stand out a little bit more.
Yeah, with more competition in the market, we're seeing books do different things to kind of entice people to come in. Bet365 has their early cash out promotion where if your NFL team that you're betting on a money line bet gets up by 17 points, they pay you right away for that bet before the game is even over. So even if the other team comes back and wins, you're still getting your bet. So remember the NFC Championship game from last year, 49ers, Lions. Lions are up by 17 points. The Lions bettors actually won that bet, even though the Lions lost the game eventually to the 49ers. So Bet365 had to pay out the Lions money line bettors and the 49ers money line bettors on straight bets. Another example of a cool promotion is BetMGM. If you like to bet anytime touchdown bets out there, I know a lot of people do. It's a fan favorite. They have their second chance promotion where if the guy that you bet doesn't score the first touchdown, I said anytime touchdown, I meant first touchdown. If he doesn't score it, but then he scores the second touchdown, you get your stake back. So it's like a second chance in order to get your stake back, because that happens a lot where you pick someone for the first touchdown score, they score on the second drive of the game and someone else already scored. And you're like, man, that was kind of a bad beat. So you at least get your money back in that situation, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's a very good point. I have a follow-up real quick, but I just want to point out Stevie Pan says he only has 8 books. So oh, there you go. I absolutely love that. But let me ask you about that BetMGM offer. Does that, by any chance, work on parlays?
It doesn't. It's a straight bet only thing. That would be sweet, though, if you could like salvage an 8-leg parlay because the guy scored second. But it is a straight bet only thing. But it's a pretty sweet offer. It's coming handy.
So let's talk NFL spreads and totals then. Is there one shop that typically has maybe better lines or better odds when kickoff is approaching? It can even be a couple of cents because that can make a difference for bettors out there. But is there enough variance, from shop to shop?
I mean, there is a lot of variance from shop to shop. They're always constantly different. I always say shop around. That's the best advice that I can give people is shop around. This is the advice that you'll get from any professional bettor to any new bettor coming in. Shop around, have as many books as possible. But no, there's not one particular book that always has the best lines. It's like if you're always betting the Dallas Cowboys, week 4, the best deal on the Cowboys line might be at FanDuel, and week 5, it might be at Bet365. So there's not one go-to. Best advice is shop around and have a lot of outs.
So what about prop bets? Because I know shopping around for props in particular, obviously a no-brainer. You can get a ton of different variants, and I highlighted some last week. But talk to me about offerings. Is there a book that has maybe a more robust list of prop bets for people looking to bet NFL games?
I mean, FanDuel is tough to beat. It seems like for any sport, they seem to lead the way with the number of prop offerings. So got to put them toward the top of the list. And then it really from there depends on what kind of props you're talking about. Like if you like really nitty gritty defensive player props, like total combined tackles and assists for a defensive player or sacks and interceptions, Bet365 is a great option for you. If we're talking about futures props, like where BetMGM and FanDuel come into play is like, hey, is Saquon Barkley going to break the all-time rushing record this year? BetMGM has one where it's like, what state is the Super Bowl champion going to be from? And that's pretty cool too. And it's a very unique offering that they have. So it depends on the kind of props that you're looking at. But FanDuel, BetMGM, Bet365, and Teasers all have really good player props for the NFL.
Let me pivot a second here. And in your experience, like with these books, which one has the best user experience? So think of things like page layout, site speed or performance, look, feel, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, this is a tough question because I think that look and feel, the color scheme, and our bets organized in the right place and things like that, I think it's really subjective and person to person. For me personally, Bet365 feels really intuitive. Like if I was a brand new bettor who had never been on a sports book before, and I went on the Bet365 app and I wanted to bet an anytime touchdown bet, it's right where I think it should be. And I have had experiences on other sports books before. I'm sure a lot of sports bettors have out there where it should take you 5 seconds to find a bet, but it actually takes you 25 seconds because you'd think this would be under this tab. I feel that a lot less often on Bet365. Things seem to be where they are supposed to be. And it feels nice. It's aesthetically pleasing as well.
What about when it comes to things like withdrawals? Like a lot of people nowadays want something close to an instant payout when they do have a big win or just want to withdraw funds. What do you notice that can separate maybe one from the other?
Yeah, with withdrawals and even deposits, I think the two things to look at are the methods and the speed. So will this sports book allow me to deposit with a credit card, for instance, or with PayPal? If you're curious about that, you can go on oddshark.com, check out our sportsbook reviews, and we'll let you know what methods are accepted by each of the sports books. And then the other one is the payout speed. Like you said, people want it fast. Now, keep in mind, if it's an exceptionally large payout, it's probably going to take a little longer. If it's your first payout ever on a sports book, no matter what sports book you're talking about, it's probably going to take another 24 or 48 hours. But once you're sort of in the system, so to speak, and you've filled out the paperwork and gotten your first deposit, you should be able to, whether it's Bet365, FanDuel, Teasers, or BetMGM, you should be able to get those deposits pretty darn quickly within 24 hours. Obviously, if you want a check mailed to you or something like that, it's going to take a little bit longer.
It's crazy how much that has actually changed in all the years that I've been involved in this industry, which is a long time now. It used to take days, if not, even longer to receive funds, but it's crazy just how swift they are with getting bettors those winnings. But talk to me about live betting, another thing that has been sort of revolutionary in sports betting the past handful of years, but it's now sort of integral to the appeal of sports betting. Who, in your opinion, does have the best in-game betting options out there?
For the NFL, FanDuel does a really, really good job. They've got a ton of options, reasonably juiced prices, and then you can parlay together betting options during the game, which is pretty sweet. Bet365, I feel like, is kind of like under the radar. Like they've got some drive specific bets. Will there be a sack on this drive? Will DeAndre Hopkins catch a pass on this drive? Will this drive make it to the 50-yard line? Will this drive make it to the 35-yard line? And so instead of just betting like a lot of other sites offer, the money line and the point spread and the team totals, they get a lot more granular on Bet365, which is pretty sweet.
I got to put you on the spot a little bit here because I know you're a big teasers guy, but anybody do anything differently from a teasers perspective?
Yeah, Teasers for NFL teasers is pretty solid, -125 juice. You compare that to some casinos out in the desert that are offering -140 juice on 2-team 6-point NFL teasers. That's a pretty solid deal there from Teasers.
So poetic as well, teasers at Teasers. But Tell me something that you, Tony Farmer, looks for in a sports book then. As somebody that has been doing this for a while, what's something that you look out for?
Yeah, something that we haven't touched on is how quick to market are these different sports books with these different betting markets or different betting options, excuse me. So this is something that FanDuel does really well. Like in October and November, you could already bet on who will be the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft, assuming that you're in a state that allows NFL draft props to be offered. You could bet during the NFL playoffs who is going to be the MVP of the Super Bowl when we don't even know who the teams are in the Super Bowl yet. Week 18 of the NFL season at FanDuel, you could already bet on playoff matchups that weren't even set yet. So what they would do in that situation is if you bet on a game, a hypothetical game that doesn't happen, you just obviously get your money back in that situation. But FanDuel does a really good job of kind of getting ahead of the game on things. They offer look-ahead lines during the NFL season, which is pretty nice as well. And some of the other sports books that we talk about, Bet365, BetMGM, Teasers, they do some of these things as well. I don't mean to make it sound like FanDuel is the only one, but FanDuel is the one that kind of does all of these things really well when it comes to getting these lines out early.
There you have it. I hope this helps any of you on your journey when looking for your first sports book. Or like I said, if you're looking to add more to your sports betting rotation, we have links in the description to help you get started. Thank you, Tony. That was extremely, extremely helpful.